The chocolate bar in your cupboard right now might not legally be chocolate anymore. Not because anyone changed the recipe you'd notice, not because the wrapper looks different. In the last 2 years, some of Britain's most trusted names have quietly dropped below the legal cocoa threshold, and none of them had to put that on the front of the pack. We pulled the regulations, checked the ownership records, and compared ingredients panels against packs from a few years back. Under the Cocoa and Chocolate Products regulations, milk chocolates sold in the UK must contain at least 25% total dry cocoa solids, with at least 14% dry milk solids. Fall under that line, and by law, you can't call it chocolate. You call it chocolate flavor coating instead, on the same shelf, same wrapper, same price, and unless you specifically turn the pack over, you'd never know anything had changed. 4 major products have made that exact move in the last 2 years. A fifth has just been getting quietly smaller instead, without changing its legal status at all. We're going through all 5, worst to best, before showing you 3 that never took either shortcut. Let's get into it. Number 5, Cadbury Dairy Milk. For most people, dairy milk isn't a chocolate bar, it's a memory. The purple wrapper, the glass and a half of milk, the bar your gran kept in the tin. Cadbury has made it in Bourneville since 1905, and it's still Britain's best-selling chocolate bar. Cadbury was bought by Kraft in 2010 in an £11.5 billion hostile takeover over the objections of unions and government. Kraft promised to keep the Somerdale factory open, then closed it within days, cutting around 400 jobs. In 2012, Kraft renamed itself Mondelez and kept Cadbury under that name. In 2022, Mondelez cut the standard sharing bar from 200 grams to 180 grams, a 10% reduction, while holding the price at £2, the first shrink in a decade. Mondelez called it facing the same challenges as every other manufacturer. What they didn't lead with, Mondelez posted $36.4 billion in net revenue in 2024, a company that can absorb a cocoa price spike without blinking. Around the same time, Terry's Chocolate Orange Ball Toffee Crunch quietly dropped from 152 grams to 145 grams at Tesco, same £2 price, no announcement. Weigh an old tin against a new bar and the difference is only in the small print on the back. Number 4, Blue Riband. Blue Riband was launched in 1936 by Grey Dunn, a Scottish biscuit maker, passed to Rowntree's, then to Nestlé when it won the 1988 takeover battle for Rowntree Macintosh. For decades it was marketed as the diet wafer bar, under 100 calories, the responsible choice for a lunchbox, never sold as an indulgence. That's what makes this one sting. Quietly cutting the chocolate out of a bar built on being the sensible option is a different kind of decision than doing it to something always sold on decadence. In the past 2 years, Nestlé increased the vegetable oil in its coating, and it no longer meets the legal definition of milk chocolate. The pack now reads, encased in a smooth milk chocolate flavor coating. Break a finger off and hold it in your closed hand. Real chocolate softens evenly and gives at the edges first. This holds its shape too long, then turns waxy instead of silky, all at once. Number 3, Toffee Crisp. Launched by Macintoshes in 1963, inherited by Nestlé in the same 1988 takeover, never sold as a premium chocolate bar in the first place. It's the bar people grab for the crack of the wafer and the pull of the toffee, which is exactly why nobody was watching closely when the coating changed underneath it. Nestlé raised the vegetable oil content here too, crossing the same legal line as Blue Riband in the same window of time. A Nestlé spokesperson confirmed the recipes were recently updated, pointing squarely to the cost of cocoa. If this is useful so far, a like helps more people see it before their next shop. This wasn't one factory cutting a corner to survive. Nestlé's global sales were CHF 91.4 billion in 2024. Cocoa prices spiked to record highs as drought and disease tore through West Africa. We'll get to the exact numbers shortly. Rather than raise the price and explain why, the company changed what's inside and left the price untouched. Number 2. Penguin. Invented in 1932 by William MacDonald in Glasgow, United Biscuits bought the company in 1965 and folded it into McVitie's. McVitie's is owned by Pladis, formed in 2016 by Turkish conglomerate Yıldız Holding, which bought United Biscuits in 2014. Pladis posted £1.006 billion in UK turnover in 2024 and £3.23 billion globally, a record year. In October 2025, on the back of that record year, Pladis reformulated Penguin's coating, swapping cocoa for palm oil and shea oil, citing the same cocoa squeeze as everyone else. It's now labelled chocolate flavour, instead of adjusting the price and explaining why. Snap 1 in half. Real chocolate breaks with a sharp, audible snap. This gives a dull crack, almost no snap at all, because the fat blend behaves differently under pressure than cocoa butter does. This one didn't stay a quiet industry story. Jacob Rees-Mogg posted publicly about it. Fake chocolate biscuits are sadly not fake news. The Penguin was not too bad. The Club inedible. Number 1. Club. Club milk goes back even further. Jacobs, the Dublin biscuit maker, started producing it just before the First World War. United Biscuits rebranded the UK version McVitie's Club in 2013. Same Pladis, same October 2025 decision. Club got the identical treatment as Penguin, cut below the legal threshold, same substitute fats. Its old jingle promised, "If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join our club." That promise is no longer one the bar can legally make. That's 5 products, 3 companies, 1 pattern. Cocoa gets expensive, so the cocoa comes out quietly at the reformulation stage, not the price tag. Here's why. West Africa grows around 70% of the world's cocoa, mostly across Ghana and Ivory Coast. Starting in 2023, cacao swollen shoot virus, black pod disease, and erratic rainfall linked to El Niño collapsed Ghana's harvest from over 1 million tons to under 500,000 over a few seasons. Cocoa went from roughly $2,000 a ton in 2022 to an all-time high of $12,646 on December 18, 2024. A rise of more than 500% as speculative buying piled on top of the genuine shortage. That's the kind of number that ends up in a boardroom reformulation meeting within weeks. Except the crisis has eased. Cocoa now sits around $5,500 a ton, a drop of more than half from the peak, though prices jumped 30% recently on fresh concerns about next year's Ivory Coast harvest, so the market is still genuinely volatile. Still, neither Nestlé nor Pladis has announced any plan to put the cocoa back, and the old slogans haven't been reinstated either. Once a company finds a cheaper recipe and nobody revolts hard enough at the till to force a reversal, the cheaper version tends to become permanent, crisis or no crisis. Now, 3 that never took the shortcut. Best option 3, Montezuma's. Founded in 2000 by 2 London lawyers after a trip through South America. To be upfront, it isn't the family business it once was. An Edinburgh private equity firm took control in 2018. It went into administration in 2023, and it's now owned by Paramount Retail Group, with the founders back only as managing directors. So the case here rests on the product, a range running up to 100% cocoa, certified by Rainforest Alliance, UTZ, Cocoa Horizons, and Soil Association Organic. Not fair trade across the board, and they say so. Whatever changed in the boardroom, the cocoa content hasn't been touched. Best option 2, Willie's Cacao. In 2008, it opened the UK's first artisan bean-to-bar factory, at a point when almost every other British bar was already made from industrially processed cocoa mass bought in bulk. Its single-origin bars contain exactly 3 ingredients: cacao mass, raw cane sugar, cocoa butter. No soya lecithin, no vanilla, nothing added to smooth over cheaper cocoa, because there isn't any cheaper cocoa in the recipe. Break a bar, and the snap is sharp and immediate. Let a square sit on your tongue, and it melts unevenly at first, the way real cocoa butter behaves, before turning completely smooth. That inconsistency is the proof, not a flaw. Uniform, waxy melting is what a fat substitute does. Best option 1, Divine Chocolate. Founded in 1998 by the farmers of Kwapa Koku, a Ghanaian cooperative, rather than keep selling raw cocoa to multinationals. Ownership has since shifted. German manufacturer Ludwig Weinrich now holds 80%, with Kwapa Koku at 20%. but the farmers still hold 40% of the board's voting power. Every product is 100% fair trade certified. Several of its best-known bars sit at 70% cocoa or higher, and it's a certified B Corporation. That's a company where the people growing the cocoa still have a seat at the table when a decision like Penguins or clubs gets made. So here's the rule to take into the shop with you, and it takes 10 seconds. Turn the bar over before you buy it, every time, no matter how familiar the wrapper looks. If the front says chocolate, but the back describes a chocolate flavor coating, those two words are not the same product. If vegetable fat, or cocoa butter equivalent, sits near the top of the ingredients list, close to sugar, it's already failed the legal definition, and the company printing that label knows it better than you do. Real chocolate has a short ingredients list with one fat in it. Cocoa butter, nothing standing in for it. To recap, Cadbury Dairy Milk quietly shrunk while the price stood still. Blue Riband and Toffee Crisp, reformulated by Nestlé within months of each other. Penguin and Club, reformulated by Pladis in October 2025 on the back of its best financial year on record. And the three that didn't, Montezuma's, whose ownership has changed hands more than once, but whose cocoa content hasn't been touched. Willie's Cacao, still making 3-ingredient bars from the factory that started the UK bean-to-bar movement. And Divine, the one company on this list where the people growing the cocoa still have a seat at the table. If this changed how you look at your next shop, tell us in the comments which one surprised you. And if you think chocolate brands are the only ones doing this, wait until you see what's actually inside a loaf of supermarket bread. That one's next.